Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Funbox Monster Podcast. Oh, everything okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. My name is Tristan.
I am Matt Awkward.
Hooray, good job. We're really already being professional right out of the gate. Tonight we're going to be talking about Ghoulies.
Yeah, I'm ghouling out over here.
I'm excited. I love this movie.
I thought I hated it. I honestly thought I hated this movie. And I hadn't watched it forever, and I think I might have been confusing it with, Munchos.
Munchies, any of those. If you were thinking of a movie with Dabney Coleman in it, you were thinking of Munchies.
Yeah, but no, I like this movie.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
No, it's another movie that is full of missed opportunities and full of,
I find it very sloppy, and some things are just like this is about to happen, something's happening, and then we're just like, yeah, let's go over here.
Yeah.
Let's do something else.
And it's also interesting because it feels so much more like a full moon movie of the 90s than I was expecting it to in going back to watch it, like with a critical eye.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of any of those like the Full Moon Video Zone era of full moon movies.
And
it's good.
This was the precursor to all that. It was before all of that. Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like stuff from that era I expect to be more like an Empire release and be kind of, I don't know about more professional or any of that. I don't know what to say. But
well, I mean, if you talk an Empire releases, if you compare this to like Reanimator, it's just like a world of difference.
Sure.
You can't get further apart.
Right. It's interesting because I know that they struggled with tone on this one when they were doing it, and it was originally supposed to be spooky, but it was supposed to be a horror movie. But I feel like they never changed it. It almost seems like we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
You were saying that they had changed the tone of the film, and I feel like they tried to make a horror movie again, and it just wound up goofy. Because
from what I read,
the
director was like, "Okay, we got to make this goofy." Once he saw John Carl Buechler's Ghoulies, he was just like, "Oh shit, that's not gonna. I can't scare people with these."
I mean. I definitely agree, but I also feel like he didn't try to make it silly or make it a joke. I don't notice anything in it that's intentionally, aside from just having the goofballs that are in every horror movie ever made.
What do you
mean? The 80s goofs.
Oh, do you mean like the Ghoulies goofy though, or because like all those shots of like the Ghoulies playing piano or just like popping up out of a turkey, like all that stuff was like added. Even the toilet scene wasn't originally in the script. That came after the poster, and they're like, oh. And
yeah.
The test scene was like, where the hell's the toilet ghoulie? So they actually went back and shot toilet ghoulie.
Of course. And then everybody complained that no one was actually gotten by a toilet ghoulie.
Yes.
And so the
ghoulie never bit anybody in the end.
Yeah, so they finally put that in part 2.
Yes.
Very important stuff. Yeah. It's a classic for a reason. It's got some very silly, fun stuff. It's very
and I mean,
very Gremlinsy.
I know it's been said before, but the cover is iconic.
It is,
and it looks so great on tape. And it's just one of those tape memories I have of being a kid. Like you always saw that tape in the video store. I don't care what video store you were at. Ghoulies was everywhere.
Yeah. No, Ghoulies was everywhere, and I think that was definitely they got lucky. I think is part of it. I think this is a movie that easily could have disappeared were it not for Gremlins bringing a lot of people were excited about little monsters and things after Gremlins.
What a time to be alive.
So true.
What's popular in the movies? Little beasties. Fucking take me back, please.
Do it. Yeah, and I mean nobody embraced that more than Charles Band.
Yeah.
Where he was very much into the idea of being like, well, we got to make sure that we've got the craziest little beasties that you can possibly have. And he always did.
Yeah.
You got your puppet masters, you got your ghoulies, you got all the little guys, you got the
blood dolls. I mean, that came so far later.
Fuck that.
No, that movie is awesome.
Sure it is.
We're doing it next week.
No, we're not. I think you're thinking of, I was trying to think of the name of the little red guys that came out of Radu's fingers. I guess
Minions, right?
Are they the subspecies?
I thought they were just called Minions.
Maybe they are, yeah. Little yellow, wear overalls, one eye. Yeah, Minions. Got it. Anyway, let's talk about this. You've got a hard out. You got to get out there. There's news out there in the world, and you've got to report on it.
I got to bring it to the people.
You've got to direct the 11 o'clock news. And
This news is much more fun to deliver.
yes, the news about Ghoulies is
Yes.
the most important news that people can get.
I kind of want to do a Ghoulies newscast now.
Well, let me just tell you, I did just put in an order through Trick or Treat Studios, and pretty much inspired by this for the store. So I'm gonna have some Ghoulies coming into the
Ooh.
store. They did Ghoulies too. They did the fish Ghoulie and
Yeah.
the cat Ghoulie. So I was like,
Are these toys?
they're replicas.
Oh,
they're
awesome.
like, well, full size.
What?
Whatever the full size of a Ghoulie is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
find out.
Not that big, but
We're gonna-
not that little.
We're gonna actually hold a Ghoulie.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Anyway, all right. Ghoulies starts off, and this is this podcast already sucks. I'm so sorry. Anyway, but they're super proud of their Ghoulies. We get some nice close-ups of like their teeth being really gross. They're making little snarfy gremlin noises. They're really slimy. They're gross looking. Their mouths are all full of ultra slime. They got great teeth.
Yeah,
Look like, you know.
Ghoulies
like
have a good Ghoulie dental plan.
well, I mean, they have gross teeth.
They go to
have,
the Ghoulie,
they have good gross teeth.
Ghoulie dentist.
Sure, you can work on that. I'm sure there's a portmanteau you can get into in that. So it turns out that we are actually in the attendance of a pagan baby sacrifice, hosted by a dude with. I mean, it's hard to not. If this was a goofy moment, if this was supposed to be goofy, they succeeded. I don't know, his like 4-foot wingspan on his antler helmet and his goof ass face.
I don't think this was supposed to be
I
goofy.
don't think so either.
No.
I don't think so. But man, it succeeds.
His costume looks like a very over what do you call it? Overachieving LARPer. Like
He looks like a dollar store Molaram.
Yeah.
from
He's
the
wearing like a
Temple of
giant
Doom.
bed sheet, so it still looks like a LARPer. Like somebody put their costume together, but like, you know, they went really above and beyond.
Yeah.
But with like the $4 allowance they had.
Right, exactly. But it can't be overstated how big those antlers are
Oh,
that
yeah.
are on his head.
And
They're-
his eyes look cool.
They do.
I like these contact things.
Yeah, no, it's a
when
cool
they work.
effect. When they work, it's cool. They definitely, you know, it's a low budget movie, so sometimes
Yeah.
they forget to have the contacts in long shots and whatever, and it's fine. But
And I do like how much this dude emotes with his hands, as Marshall said earlier. I think he's just giving it too much.
He's
Like,
giving-
yes.
yeah, he's given too much. Yeah, we were watching Ghoulies literally on
All
repeat
day at the
all day
store.
long at the store. But
To the point where I suggested that we should be the Ghoulies store. Like,
we will absolutely be known as the Ghoulies.
there will
store.
always be Ghoulies playing when you come to Coast City Comics, so you're always
That's-
guaranteed to see something.
Yes, it's.
I'm not going to say you're always
City Brothers.
guaranteed to see something awesome.
Yeah, it's something with Ghoulies. Got these green glowing eyes, and also his lapel is filthy, which was really weird. He had looked like he'd smeared chocolate on it. Kind of gross.
Spill at the craft service table.
Yeah, something. There was something that they should not have done a close up on. And it turns out that this is his kid, and he's about to sacrifice his own kid. But the mom's there, and she's not stoked that he's going to kill it. So she runs up, drapes the child with an amulet, and says, "You can't hurt him now." And I don't know if that makes any sense, but whatever.
Man, you know what's weird? Like, when we meet him, you know, this is a kid we're going to be following.
Yep.
And when we do catch up with him, you know, in all these movies where they show that, like, it would dissolve to the present time with that necklace being on him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And in this movie, it's just like, no.
This is
Did he lose it? He probably did. Like, can you imagine,
Knowing this guy,
imagine
yeah,
a
yeah.
newborn kid, like, though, holding on to a necklace from birth and, like, not losing it throughout all childhood.
so
Lots of movies like to assume that that's something that can happen.
right. I feel like this movie, one of the things that's interesting about it is that I think that it almost feels like a Zen filmmaking mistake where they're just like, oops, we were just recording with no script, and then we decided to piece it together at the end. But it's not, because clearly it had a script, but it's also like they didn't know the things that they didn't know about the characters for later scenes
Yep.
are glaring. Like, specifically, he has this adopted father who he refers to as a caretaker at one point, who doesn't talk, and then it turns out that he's doing the voiceover, so now he's talking a lot, and then
How do
he's
you
like,
make your narrator a mute?
It's so crazy. It's a really strange, but then he talks at the end. And then it's like, also this amulet, it's like, can't you get one of your fucking minions to take the amulet off him? There's a whole bunch of cultists standing around.
They're busy standing
Oh,
around.
that's a good point. They got stuff going on. Whatever. But they can't do it, so he's like, now he's tainted with amulet stuff. Take him away.
Get him out of here.
Bake him away, toys. And he gets him out of there. And he's taken away by the only famous actor in the film, Jack Nance, playing a character named Wolfgang.
Yes.
Super weird. It's the guy from every David Lynch movie and, of course, the Blob remake, which you can find in our back catalog.
That's where I know him from.
Yes. He's been in every David Lynch movie, including Dune. Weird to see him in that. Anyway, so now the goofy cult guy says, "Haha, well, now you, wife, will take his place in the sacrifice." And Jack Nance carries the baby off into the sunset. And Ghoulies hold the lady down. And I guess one of them burrows through her body.
I guess.
We don't know because all we get is a reaction shot from a ghoulie.
This is one of the things in this movie where I don't know if they chopped it for content or, so they wouldn't get an R rating, or the effect just failed, or there's several scenes in this where I feel like it just cuts too early,
I think
or
they're
just like
trying to get a
switches to something
PG-13.
else, and it's like, what? Why was that happening then? Why did that?
Yeah.
It just feels incomplete.
It definitely feels like they were trying to avoid an R rating on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is really strange, but again, it's also, they're playing this game that they kind of fail at, which is making the Ghoulies the good guys and making the Ghoulies the bad guys at the same time. So they're like under control of the evil sorcerer, but it's almost like they don't want to do evil, because there's that moment when, I mean, it's our gag, but it's like there's a reaction of the little rat ghoulie, and he covers his eyes when the blood comes out, and it's almost like he doesn't want to be a part of this. And spoiler alert to later on, I'm cutting way ahead, but the most important part of this movie is the two little people actors who are in the middle of the movie, and they just get nothing to do, which is a real...
Yeah, they don't have any... What is their point?
There's no point to them, and they could be... And they're the most interesting things in the movie.
The only thing that they do is save him from the trap, which is also another thing that just seems incomplete and very anticlimactic. Like,
they also catch a ghoulie.
Yeah, but like, oh, okay, we'll get to that scene. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, okay, so cut to the Sweet Richard band score, and we get our credits and all that. And now Jack Nance is back doing narration. So he says, the baby's evil dad died a horrible death, and so he raised him the best that he could. And he's like, but he's been dead for a long time, so I assume the curse has passed. And it's like, there's a couple places where these narrations kick in, and it's very clearly to spackle over some very...
So how long has this dad been dead that this guy gets the house? It didn't just happen? Like...
I mean, okay.
Because what's his nuts comes to inherit the house.
Yes.
But like... When the dad rises up later on in the movie, he's rotten. Like, he's been under there for a while. Well, at first he's rotten when it's a prosthetic with the fake skull.
Yeah.
So he still looks like a rotty zombie. Like he's been there for a while, and he's
not that long. Not like,
and he still looks young. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
like he still looks as young as he did in the intro credits. So like, did this guy die when kid was a kid and he's back for the first time, or was he raised in that house, or why is he even coming back? Why did he ever even move out?
They figured that if you're watching a movie called Ghoulies about ghoulies, you don't really give a shit about these guys, and they're correct. But I mean, but the problem here is, okay, so the newly grown John is about to, he's wandering around his newly inherited home. He finds a grave with an inverted pentagram. It's all spooky, blah, blah, blah. And then Wolfgang, the caretaker, who he refers to, he's with his girlfriend, and he's like, oh, that's Wolfgang, the caretaker. And it's like, no, it's your adopted father who raised you.
Yeah.
Dude, what are you talking about? And then our narrator refuses to speak at all and just acts creepy. And it's like, okay, so
why aren't you talking?
Did he raise him at another house somewhere else? and he would occasionally come back to this place and caretake the house when he wasn't around?
I don't know. Oh, and what's his nuts gravestone that we see looks weathered and old, like it's been there for
more than
ever.
weathered and old. It looks like it's been buried by time.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So it wasn't like a quick death, like your father just died, come get your house.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have so many questions.
Yeah, whatever. We'll never have answers. Okay. Anyway, he calls him the caretaker and then just like pretends like he barely knows him because, boo, you're an ungrateful Satanist kid. I hope you get possessed by that stupid goofball from the beginning. Anyway, later, like seconds later, they cut into then we go into the study after he's the caretaker. He's like, Wolfgang? Oh, he's the only family I've ever known.
Yeah.
Dude, make up your mind. Is he just the caretaker or is he the only family you've ever known? Anyway, okay, so the place is trashed. It looks like no one has lived in it for years. So obviously Wolfgang is also doing a piss poor job of caretaking
He's awful.
this estate. He hasn't dusted.
What has he been doing?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing, inside or outside.
Yeah, no, totally. The place is absolutely trashed. Anyway, to the point where he's going to make it his full-time job to try and get it back to a place where human beings can live.
Because everybody quits college to clean up a house.
I would. College sucks. Anyway.
Get a trade, kids.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I had. I wish I knew how to do electrical work. I wouldn't have to hire a fucking electrician.
At least you know how to do podcasting. That's cool.
Sure. I think the 3 people that listen to the podcast really appreciate that.
I bet they do.
Shout us out if you appreciate if you're one of the 3 people that appreciates our podcast. Anyway, if you go by the numbers on YouTube, we do have 3 listeners.
on the that's the video.
It's so sad. It's ridiculous. Nobody watches. I mean, I wouldn't watch the videos either.
I wouldn't either. Why are we even doing it?
I don't know. You said it might be fun.
I said it'd be fun on a set with like actual.
Hi,
Mom.
Hi, Mom. Too bad. We're doing it anyway. Anyhow, yes. So let's move on. Where are we? Okay. So John immediately heads down to the basement after his girlfriend's scared by a mouse. She sees every book in the world about occultism, and she's like, "Oh, how charming! It's tons of Satanist stuff." And John goes downstairs, and he's like, "Ooh, occult markings on the floor." Dusts off drawn directly to it.
What is he possessed here at all?
No.
Or like
No.
because he gets like really obsessed with this.
I mean, he has to. There has to be some sort of spell on him or some dumb shit.
And like
like
it seems
that.
like he knows how to do what he's doing too good for the time that he just. Which could it be explained if he spent the past 25 years scholarly going through all these books at the house, but obviously he hasn't been there.
No,
But he just goes like gaga for
also his
Ghoulies.
Gaga for Ghoulies. One of the things that I dislike about this movie, like especially because of his motivations, is that he's like, "Can I get power?" And
Yeah.
maybe I'm naive and I'm not somebody who gives a shit about such things, but what is power?
Yeah.
Like, that is an ill-defined concept. Do you want to lead men? Do you want to be president? Do you want money? Do you want women to fall at your feet? What is power?
Like, man,
to you?
you've got a girlfriend that seems like she loves you, and you just inherited a freaking mansion, and what more do you need?
You're
right
doing
now, bro?
better
You're
than
doing okay.
99% of people in the world.
But I need power.
I just don't understand what power is. Like, is it
Yeah.
superpower? Is it like, I want to be able to leap tall buildings in a single bound? I just don't get it. I mean, he seems to be totally stoked when he can make it rain, when he gets Storm's powers.
I mean, that'd be a cool power.
Yeah, the power to lower your house's resale value. It's
Yeah.
great.
Hell of a cool party trick, though.
Yeah, Rising Damp, the superpower. That's the name of his superhero. Okay.
I made a bad wish.
Yeah, really did. Okay. So, he starts getting obsessed with whatever the book is and starts reading it at the table and ignoring his girlfriend and wife. And this is just so quick and so sloppy. Like, there could have been some time passing here, and instead it's just like, bam. Boop. He is obsessed.
I'm a different guy now.
I am now. The second he grabs that book, he is a different person and doesn't hear when his wife or girlfriend makes the hilarious transitional statement, "We should have a party. It's not like the place could get trashed."
No.
Smash cut to guy smashing a bottle on one of the statues outside. Oh, shit. That's actually pretty good. Anyway, it's going to be a big 80s party. We got 80s party dinguses driving a three-wheeler, smashing beer bottles. It's going to be one of those things.
It's a rager.
It is a rager, and we've got some real stand-ins for some fairly famous actors here. We got kind of your, your Robert Downey Jr. types. This was probably after Less Than Zero, I assume. And, like, these guys are probably supposed to be the two stars of Less Than Zero.
I don't know what that is.
They look very much like Robert Downey Jr. and whoever the other guy is who played Ultron. Those two.
Oh, Spader?
Yeah, James Spader.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of stand-ins for that. Think of Back to School.
Okay, I like that movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, sure.
I want to see a ghoulie do a triple Lindy.
I wanted to see a ghoulie do almost anything in this movie. You were saying that they were doing goofy stuff, but like playing the piano was the only thing I remembered.
He pops out of the turkey at the dinner.
But that was like that was done as like a scare. It was like slow.
There's a ghoulie watching the bone.
But that was done as a scare too. He was down underneath the bed, like, I'm evil and I've got a little. I don't know. Anyway,
there's a ghoulie popping out of the soup. He's like, I'm in the soup. Blah, blah. Like, yeah, it's not like it's cool stuff they do, but I think
I'm happy that they did that.
I think they just tried shoehorning in any kind of goofy ghoulie thing they could fit into
the goofy ghoulies
to capitalize on that goofy ghoulie movement.
I mean,
I'm
gaga for goofy ghoulies.
I'm gaga for goofy.
So
the old Triple G.
The next two party attendees that we see are some gigantic douche canoe named Dick in a beige leather jacket. Woo! Butterfly collar. They really did him up. And then there is a little dude named Mark. And what the fuck is happening here?
I just remember the text you sent me. Why Toad Boy?
Why is he Toad Boy?
Why is he Toad Boy?
And we never find out why he is Toad Boy. He basically shows up and he does this his first introduction to us, he's creeping behind a fucking potted plant of some sort, and he's like, I'm Toad Boy.
Toad Boy needs nummies for his tum-tum. And it's like, that's how he hits on people, I guess. Like, why are you doing this, Mark? Like,
he needs an intervention.
Oh, fun. I had to look him up because I definitely recognized him, though. He is the punk that steals Pee-wee's bike in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. For Francis. He's the guy Francis pays to,
There you go. So he...
enjoy your bike, Buxton.
Nice.
Toad Boy likes stealing bicycles.
It's so awful. Yeah, he speaks in this bizarre falsetto. We never find out why he does it. It's just to be weird, I guess, and it's fine. Dick gets hit on by the hottest girl at the party because, I don't know, there's nobody else better there. I mean, in the kitchen, we find out that the ladies love Dick. They're getting a lot of mileage out of the fact that his name is like Dick. Penis.
He's all like, my name's Dick, but you can call me Dick.
Hey. And the ladies love it.
I mean, that's a real line. Yeah.
Yep. One of the 80s spazzes that would have probably been like portrayed by Anthony Michael Hall back in the day if they'd had the budget. He starts poorly breakdancing and the crowd loves it.
Yeah, this is another scene where it's like, what?
It kills several minutes and drugs fall out of his pockets onto the floor because he has drugs at a party. That's crazy.
That's funny.
That is straight up comedy because people don't bring drugs to parties.
You know what, man? I can't believe this dude doesn't smoke a J with a ghoulie in this.
I can't believe that either.
I can't believe that didn't happen.
That is criminal. It's criminal.
I didn't think about it until just now, and it's just like, man, come on. That would have been funny.
I mean, it would have at least been interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about what party games they're going to play. What do you want to do? Trivial Pursuit? What? what about strip poker?
No.
Nah, please. Nobody wants to see strip poker in a horror movie. We want to see you do a dumb ceremony that fails to do anything in the basement. So everybody's excited, and they go downstairs.
It's kind of like the movie even teases you with like what you actually want to see.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
It's like, oh, shit, okay, cool. Oh. Okay.
Right. It would have been good, but no, we're not going to have that. What is that fucking beep?
I didn't
hearing
do it.
that?
I did hear it, but I didn't do it.
Dun, dun, dun. All right.
It's
anyway,
a ghoulie.
It's
There's a ghoulie in here, isn't there?
Anyway, so they do this thing, and they do this ritual, and it fails spectacularly, and they're all wishing they'd played strip poker, and we're all wishing they'd played strip poker, and he forgets to dismiss the spirit. Dun, dun, dun. And one of the girls disappears. What's happened to her? Oh, she's out on a thing. We find her later.
Okay.
Super interesting. But meanwhile, Wolfgang is freaking out and having like DTs in his bedroom that's all covered in like Roman Catholic stuff because he's recovering from being a cultist.
Yeah. That's what he spends all of his time doing.
Yes.
Definitely not caretaking.
Certainly not.
At all.
Just, being in a union suit and twisting in a bed is pretty much what he does.
It's a living.
It's a living. And so the first of our titular ghoulies appears in this little circle that he makes. He comes from out of nowhere.
And he's just like, hey.
Hey, how's it going? He doesn't tap dance or anything. It's just...
And then it's like, okay, moving on. So the two 80s party guys go to a bedroom now. They're like, I assume looking for a place to smoke a joint. But they find a Klaus Nomi sex doll in there, and I did like the scare of the, not so much scare, but the weirdness of it.
Oh, it's great. This is a great moment. But why the Klaus Nomi doll? Why does it look like Klaus Nomi? Like
I didn't. I mean, I can see it in my. I don't think it looks like Klaus Nomi.
I mean,
it's still just a white face kind of clowny dude in a weird suit.
Really? I don't know.
Which is Klaus.
Okay, sure.
I think it's just coincidental.
Okay, maybe. So they go to the closet.
They just pick it up and it starts singing Simple Man.
Exactly. That was what I was hoping for. They go to the closet and another Klaus Nomi sex doll jumps out at them. Oh, shit. And they're like, ha, that's funny. And then they look back.
Wait a minute.
Dun, dun, dun. There isn't another doll over there. Oh, shit. Let's get out of here, Scoob.
I mean, that's legit scary if that would happen to you.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying. Yeah. John and Dick go looking for the missing girl Robin, who's acting all weird. John is our main character, if I haven't mentioned that. And she's just like out on a bridge looking weird. She's just like standing there acting strange for no reason, and it goes nowhere.
Yep. It's one of the many threads in this that just things happen and scenes are just incomplete and they're just like moving on.
Yeah. Next day, over a dinner of white rice, salad, and butter, John explains to his girlfriend that he's quitting school to focus on his Satanism. Always a hard conversation to have.
You mean clean the house?
I mean, did I say focus on Satanism? I meant
make this place all spick and span.
She's not stoked that he is quitting school to quote unquote fix up the house.
She's no dummy.
She knows that he just wants to hang out with ghoulies, because I would. And so she heads off to whatever she does all day, and he starts a wacky cleaning montage. It was probably supposed to be a wacky cleaning montage, but they set it to that fucking spooky music for no reason. He's doing like goofy shit, but the soundtrack is totally not goofy. It's so weird.
He needs to talk to what's his name from Nightmare on Elm Street 2. That guy guy can clean a room with a montage.
Mark knows how to do a room cleaning montage.
Yes.
He basically just throws a bunch of shit downstairs and
or the Elvira Mistress of the Dark, that has a cleanup montage. This is like okay.
Every time somebody misses out on a cleaning montage, it makes me sad. Go back to our episode on Demon Wind for a real missed opportunity of a cleaning montage. Guys, what are you doing? Okay, so we get that narration spackle back here where he shows up and he's like, By the way, he stopped cleaning because evil was calling him to put on robes.
Yeah, that's the ticket. We join him now in progress.
Yes, he pulls out his dad's satanic gewgaws and paints a big sigil on the floor, and
That's what I'm talking about. Like, he's been there for like a day, and he's already got all this stuff. Like, the
We don't know
symbols are
that it's a
symbols
day.
are perfect. Like, everything looks great. Like, he just learns this shit way too fast.
yeah, he paints it right directly onto the floor with latex house paint, just like
It's his
the druids
house,
did.
dude.
He makes a fancy magic talisman in the fire. So
What
this is
is
also
this?
time passing. While his wife is at work, he has cleaned up the house enough that she would be impressed at the level of cleanliness that they have.
And learn
And
metallurgy.
he has painted that giant sigil on the floor and learned how to make that talisman that he gives her. Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. That guy has good time management skills. Okay, so what is this talisman for? Is it to protect her from him?
I don't.
Is it
honest.
evil? Is it for her to
I
be
can't
possessed
figure it out
later on?
whatsoever because I thought it was to protect, to begin with.
Yeah, doesn't she snap out of it when he puts the necklace back on her later on?
She ends up dying like the minute she puts it on her.
Oh, that's a funny scene. Anyway, okay, so later that night, he goes to hang out in front of his dad's grave to shiver and freak out like he's having withdrawals or something. He's now not eating at all, and she's pissed because he's fasting.
Yeah.
She is fucking rip shit.
And she's like, well, I'm going to make... Yeah, she's... Oh, wait, no, this is the other scene where
Yeah,
she makes
she's-
dinner. Okay, I'm jumping ahead.
She's like, listen, I slaved for hours over 2 bowls of white rice
Yeah.
and some salad. What are you doing? He goes down to the basement again, hangs out in his dad's dumb robes, summons the cutest of the ghoulies, my personal favorite, the bald lizard man fish ghoulie.
I like the one with the big square mouth, the werewolfy looking guy.
Yeah, that's the cat ghoulie, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to tell in this one. They're not as defined as they are in
They
the
are
later
not.
ones.
And another thing that's weird about this is that, like, when you think about Ghoulies, you think about the core 3 from Ghoulies Go to College and Part 3.
Yep.
But in this one, there are at least 5.
I think there's 5 Ghoulies.
Distinct Ghoulies.
There looks like the black bear ghoulie. You maybe see like once.
Like a gorilla Ghoulie.
Yeah. That's
he
what
looks
I mean.
like a
yeah,
gorilla.
yeah, like Donkey Kong ghoulie. Yeah.
Sure.
That's it.
And you see him like maybe 2 times, 2 shots
There's
of
bat
that.
ghoulie for
There's a bat
brief
ghoulie for
second.
a hilarious
Yeah.
moment. There's like at least 4 or 5 fish ghoulies.
There's lots of fish ghoulies.
So
there
y-
could be 100 of them in that
Exactly.
wishing pond out front.
We have no idea. We see at least 3 of them at one time.
Yep.
So who knows? But it's very strange because it works so much better when there's only a few of them. But that's not how they roll. Okay, so he goes out and does, in his ritual, he's like, listen, you all need to be invisible to everyone but me because you look really silly.
Oh, so when he says this, does that mean that nobody else can see the ghoulies? Or
Yes.
does that just mean the ghoulies have to hide?
Well, we find out later that no one can see them because when
At the
they're
dinner
at
scene,
dinner-
that's what I was putting together at the dinner scene. I couldn't tell if the movie was just like pretending that they couldn't see them or they weren't seeing them.
Well, I mean, they don't see them until they get attacked.
But then
by
they
them.
do see them.
They see them when they're attacking them.
So make up your mind then. Why would
I don't know.
I just-
Their predator camouflage goes away when they go into attack mode. They can't-
okay.
When the, you can't fire photon torpedoes when you're still cloaked. Everybody knows that. Anyway, that's what's going on.
Okay.
So, let's see. Oh, this scene is hilarious because this is like some sort of weird euphemism scene where his girlfriend finds him. He's downstairs dressed in his goofy ass robes.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Doing some goofy ass thing with some goofy ass trident, and he's like, do. His girlfriend comes downstairs and looks at him and is just like, what the fuck is happening down here?
Oh, you're home early.
And it's like a metaphor for somebody with like a really embarrassing sexual fetish that
Yes.
they're like they don't want anyone to know, like he's got an adult baby fetish or
Yeah.
something, and he's like, oh, I didn't want you to find out like this, or he's having sex with somebody and he's like, oh shit.
I can't not get over the frickin' trident that he has. Like, it makes my hair hurt just looking at it because it looks so cheap. It looks like it's made out of cardboard. Like, I'm just like, come on, movie. I know you don't have much of a budget, but damn, this looks like a prop you made for a 4th grade school play. Like,
It's incredibly frustrating because you could probably go to Chinatown and purchase the actual weapon for under $50.
Yeah.
Like you could get the thing like the wushu actual weapon for almost nothing.
Yep.
And it's like instead they were like, what if we just stretch tinfoil
What
over
if-
cardboard?
exactly. What if we just spray painted some cardboard silver and put it on a broom?
Let me tell you what will happen.
It'll
It
look
will
like this.
hilarious is what will happen. It's funny that they were worried about the Ghoulies when that was their biggest problem.
Well, that's another funny thing. Is like I feel like this one takes me out of the movies. Like,
Yes.
I'm willing to accept all the Ghoulies, but you show me that trident, I'm just like, nobody would be wielding that. Shut up.
The thing is, I've seen metal weapons in the world. That is a thing I'm familiar with. I don't know what a ghoulie looks like. You can tell me that that's a bad-looking ghoulie, but that's the only ghoulie I've ever seen,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to assume that that's what a ghoulie looks like. It moves like a puppet. Yeah.
I've fought mermen. I've seen tridents, and that's just not one. That's
Absolutely,
not a trident.
yes. It's so weird. Anyway, he does. That's right. That's where he does the spell where he makes it rain in the basement. After he makes it rain in the basement, that's when she walks downstairs. It would have been interesting if he had made it rain and she had come downstairs and seen that it was raining in the basement.
Yeah.
She's like,
Are you making it rain in the basement again?
"No, Mom." It really feels like he should have been talking to his mother and being like, "No, Mom, don't come down here. I don't have any pants on."
I'm making it rain, okay? That's what I do. It's my thing.
So weird. Anyway,
I got for ghoulies, okay?
okay, so we next get what looks like it's going to be an excuse for boobs, but instead we just get to watch a ghoulie watch them do it under the bed.
Yeah, here's another thing. I don't know if, like, come on, we all want boobs. You're giving us a sex scene with no sex. You're giving us the mention of strip poker with no strip poker. It's just like, again, I don't know if that's cut for content or they didn't shoot it in the first place, but either way, it just feels like we get shortchanged. Like,
I will say that this scene, aside from the fact that it's super uncomfortable and gross because it becomes non-consensual
Yes.
about halfway through, which is
Yeah.
totally gross, but aside from that, if you can separate that part of it, the part where they pan, I love saying that, when the camera goes down so that you can see
Booms.
underneath the, yes, thank you. You're a director. Correct me when I say pan instead of the thing that it's supposed to. When the camera goes underneath the bed and you see the ghoulie with the glowing sigil underneath,
Yeah.
and he's just like, he's kind of got his fingers tented and he's just like, yeah, this thing's gonna happen.
This
and
is
it's
hot.
And well, I mean, whatever he was gonna do could not possibly have been good.
yeah.
You know, you can only assume that what the spell was going to do was going to burst his like weird evil father out of her at some point as a baby or something. And so they got really lucky that thing didn't go through. So, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I never thought of that. You never do find out what
What
he
that
was
spell
doing.
was supposed to be.
Yeah, because he had that sigil under the bed, and he was like chanting,
Oh,
trying to like chant to make something happen while boning her.
That's-
It got gross.
Yeah, it got really gross. It was really stupid.
Come on, ghoulies, don't be so gross.
Yeah, come on. Give me more ghoulies. All right. How the ghoulies doing it? That's something I've never seen before. Anyway.
It doesn't happen in any of them. Well, actually, shit, I don't remember the fourth one.
Well, luckily there isn't a ghoulie in the fourth one, so
Oh yeah.
we basically have Grizzle and Greedyguts back in the fourth one.
Do they come back?
No, but
Oh.
I mean they might as well be. It's
Okay,
like
I
they're
see.
dressed up like ghoulies. If they did, it would be better because fucking Grizzle and Greedyguts are the best part of this movie. Okay, she's done with his nonsense after this, of course. But that's just helping out Jonathan because now he's got more time for Satan.
Yeah.
He's like,
It's like, I don't need her. I got ghoulies.
I've got to commit to my real passion, commanding little people to do my bidding.
I summon these ghoulies here to do... He doesn't give them one command, does he?
He does. There was one time that he... Well, here's the thing. The thing that bothers me about it is that there's... I only figured this out on like my third watch through of the movie.
Because it's been playing here all day.
Well, because it's been playing constantly. But there's a moment where he basically asks them for the power to do the rain ceremony thing. And so if they would explain that more, that's fascinating. Like the idea that these are like little demons, that like the Ghoulies
can grant rain power?
Well, because they're lesser demons, so they have some sort of magical abilities from hell or wherever. And like magic exists in some other realm. You bring them forward and they bring the magic with them, and then they lend the magic to you, which is very clearly what they're doing once you have seen that one scene. But they never explicitly say it, and it would be a little more interesting to explain why he's got so many fucking ghoulies when he's like, I want power. Is power having lots of little ghoulies? I mean, if your definition of power is having ghoulies, he is powerful as hell.
Super powerful.
He's the most powerful man in the world. I can't think of a single man with more ghoulies.
Just tell him he's powerful. He has a lot of ghoulies.
It's like Pokemon.
Yeah.
I really feel like Pokemon is just really a modern version of the ghoulies.
They come from ghoulie balls.
Yes. Ghoulie balls.
Is there a shirt idea?
Is there some sort of Pokemon mashup with ghoulies that we need to make into a shirt and sell it to T-Fury? Probably. Okay. Where am I? All right. So he's summoned these the two little people who are, I assume, so this is just, I'm reading into this. So I'm assuming that the Ghoulies are lower demons.
Yep.
Grizzle and Greedy Guts are some higher level of demon with more power than
So what's
the
he
Ghoulies.
summoning these guys for? To help him?
Because they can give him more power, because they can give him access to a higher level of magic. And so he keeps summoning more complex or more powerful demons. They then imbue him with their power somehow. This is all conjecture.
Yeah.
But this is how what I'm seeing
Okay.
as the point of this. And they do, and since they can actually communicate in English where the Ghoulies cannot,
Yep.
he's like, I want power. Can you get me power? He's like, well, power I can get you, but there's this fucking ceremony, and so, I don't know, it's pretty dangerous. I don't know. I don't think that a little wussy like you could handle it. And he's like, what? I could totally handle it. I'm totally cool.
I gotta make you do a party trick with the wine glass before I can trust you to take up some time.
That's so stupid.
Yes.
But yes, so he does that, and it's fine. But again, I want to call out Grizzle and Greedy Gut as being like the most wasted opportunity of like they should have been the heroes.
Yep.
Because I liked the angle where they didn't want to serve his dad.
They kind of were the heroes in the end. I mean,
they basically were. But they should have done more.
Yes, they should have been more heroic than just say, "Don't touch that. It's a trap."
Especially since they're in the house at the end. It's like and they're just like, "See ya."
Bye. All right, is everybody cool? Everybody get the freaking happy goosebumps ending?
I mean, you're literally like, oh, we've summoned these new otherworldly entities that are vastly more powerful than these other ones, and we haven't sent them away. We just left them in the house. That probably couldn't cause any problems metaphysically. It's gonna be fine. So they know everything. They know about all of these rituals. They know everything about his life too, which he doesn't find suspicious at all because he's a fucking dumbass.
He's like, "You want your girlfriend back, don't you?"
And how do you
how
know
do you
about
even
that?
know her? We know things.
We know things. Actually, you just have the look of somebody who can't keep a girlfriend.
I just guessed.
I just guessed. You look like a sad incel. I just kind of assumed.
Yeah.
You probably think that Gillian Anderson is your girlfriend. Yeah, I kind of guessed. Anyway, but he hangs out with. There's this awesome scene. Now he has to wear. He's got the green glowing eyes constantly. So that power has gone into him. So now he's got to wear sunglasses all the time to keep people from knowing that he's all ghoulied out. And there's a great scene, probably one of my favorite scenes, and it's just a second, and it's him reading a book in the parlor with the ghoulie.
Yeah.
And he hands the book to the ghoulie, and the ghoulie's like, "Oh yeah, I'll shelve this for you, boss."
Yep.
And like kind of takes it and carries it
It's
off.
awesome.
Awesome. That is like, if the movie was 90% that type of interactions with the ghoulies, I would have liked it so much
Also,
more.
that's why he got the Ghoulies. Just to help him put
Just
books
to
away
put
when he's
books
done.
away. He's just really lazy. But that's the thing, is that it's like it's almost as though they're teaching him. Mm-hmm. You know, like that scene could have gone on in a way where we could have seen that he was learning from these demons.
Oh my gosh, dude. We should have had a Ghoulies training montage.
Absolutely. Set to Gonna Fly Now. And they're just they're just showing him, like, they could be directing him with like their little ghoulie fingers across the book, and they're like, "Oh, look right here," and he's like, "That one?" And he's like painting it.
And he could be like,
and
then he could
thumbs
be
up, thumbs down. I don't like that sigil that you're drawing. That one's not very
Then he could
good.
be like shooting lightning bolts from his finger across the room at paintings and stuff, and
More of that.
blows up his pet parakeet, and all the Ghoulies are like,
Exactly. That much better. He tries on some other dumb robes. These ones have stars, and they're like,
little roby
no.
fashion. Yeah.
The ghoulies don't like
he
that
does. He
one.
does a catwalk thing, strutting his big antler hat and everything.
Too big. No, antlers too big. No
It
way.
plays "I'm Too Sexy,"
Yes.
which was not around at this time.
No. They should have invented it for this
I'll
movie.
George Lucas the shit out of this, man.
Please do. All right. Becky comes back because Grizzle and Greedy Guts have basically put a spell on her to come back. She's like, "Come back. Come away from here. And we want, just
I didn't
leave."
realize she was spelled to come back. I thought she came back to try to get him out of there because
It's
she
possible.
realized that he was losing it.
I mean,
She wasn't spelled yet.
I
don't
think. I think that she was influenced because he basically said, "Do you want her back?"
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "We can do that." And then she comes back. So I presume that they had some sort of influence on her from afar, and then they put a spell on her once she got there that was like, she has no will of her own.
I think she got there on her own
Could be.
speed.
I mean,
Then she got taken over when she did show up. Yeah,
Could be.
because they wouldn't have her come to the house and be like, "Let's go."
Right. But I mean, she did. Yeah. They definitely claimed that they could get her back. So they didn't know that she was going to show
They
up.
could also be liars, man.
That's true. They are demons.
They're demons. Yeah, exactly.
Good point. Okay. So
And their name's Greedy Guts. It's really it's a trustworthy name.
Greedy Guts is a trustworthy name. It really is. So she's freaked out. There's a great scene here where there's a moment where you can see what this movie could have been.
Yeah, when he shows the eyes here.
Yeah, the moment where he takes off his sunglasses, he's got an otherworldly glow coming from his eyes, and she says, "My God, what have you done to your eyes?" And that's like, it feels very Lovecrafty, and it feels like a moment from a better movie, or from a scary movie, from a movie that would actually have some like spooky stuff in it.
Yeah.
And that was like the only moment like that. Like, you could definitely see like a From Beyond in that moment. It's like, this movie does play like Lovecraft for kids. Like, it almost is like a child's introduction to Lovecraft. It really has that kind of like, it's got a Lovecraft vibe, but like for little kids.
Yeah.
For kids.
Do you like H.P. Lovecraft? Now you can see him as a little kid.
You could see him as a racist little kid. Don't ask him about his cat. Okay, so now
Details later.
A cat named by a racist. Details later. Now everyone from the party is back again. They're all wearing sunglasses because it's a sunglasses party.
No, do you know why? This was actually supposed to be shot in 3D. And so this was supposed to be the scene where the gimmick where you put your
Oh my
your 3D glasses on.
God.
However, it was deemed way too cost
Prohibitive.
so they just kept it with the sunglasses. Anyway,
Fascinating.
but yeah, that's why this was supposed to be in this whole crazy dinner table scene is all supposed to be 3D, which would have been fucking cool, really.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and also it just proves that they wouldn't have been able to do it because they were too lazy to make the fucking glasses for everybody. Instead, they were just like, here's a bunch of goofy
Rando
sunglasses.
glasses. Yeah.
It's like, even The Mask, the original 50s The Mask, like, put the mask on now. Like, they designed a thing. They put a mask that went over his face. Lazy. Lazy, I tells you. Anyway. Okay, so sunglasses party. We get the ghoulies popping out of the soup. But
nobody can see them.
Yes. But
it makes you kind of confused because if you just miss that one line where it's like, and you got to be invisible, which isn't even a clear cut and dry line. You're just like watching it and be like, why aren't these people freaking out when there's ghoulies here? Like, oh, can they not see them because they wear the sunglasses? Is that why? So it just makes you think like 100 different things of like why you can't see this big ghoulie creature popping out of the bowl of soup in front of you.
And also it does, like, if you can't see them, are they invisible? And if so, can you just see a void in the soup where the ghoulies sitting?
Yeah, can you see anything?
See the turkey moving? Like, can you not? Is your mind so clouded by ghoulie magic that you can't see that anything's moving?
I need to know.
I do too. I want to know more. Anyway, they all have a toast, and Jonathan has them drink Kool-Aid that it's supposed to be wine, but it's very clearly Kool-Aid. I love it when they do that in movies. He's got the freaky eyes, but nobody cares because they're all spellbound at this point. And he teleports everybody down to the basement, which is clearly a serious power upgrade for our main character here.
Hey, he wanted that power. He's got it.
He's got it. Now he's got fucking Nightcrawler bamfing abilities.
Nobody here, seems to care that this is going on.
No, as soon as they drink the wine, they're gone.
Is that what happens?
Yeah. As soon as they have the wine, they're blank slates.
Gotcha.
He says, smacking his microphone. So they all wind up in these like creepy white sheet costumes.
Yeah, I think that looks
Those
really cool.
Are awesome.
Yeah,
they're very similar to the ones used in The Void.
I've not seen that.
It's great. That's a fun movie, but it's a really it's interesting because it's very hard to make a white costume not look like a clan robe, obviously,
or a bed sheet, like it does in the very beginning of the movie,
right? Yeah. Or a shitty ghost costume, like Charlie Brown in a ghost costume. So it's super cool the way that they do it. I really dug it, and it is really creepy. And when they get bloody, it's like that is a scary moment, and that combined with that other thing is like. Those two things together, that's a fucking Lovecraft movie.
Yeah,
you've got this.
You could have had a scary
faceless, weird cultists. Oh, I love it. Yeah, well, too bad.
Oh, well.
Anyway, okay.
No super scary movie for Toad Boy.
Fuck you, Toad Boy. All right, one of the ghoulies hangs out on one of the shoulders of the guys in the costume, and he pets him. It's really funny. He's petting the cultist on the head.
It's nice that they gave the ghoulies something to do for a second.
It's just to remind us that there are ghoulies in this
for real
ghoulie movie.
The ghoulies must be in this for what, a minute, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Of total running time.
Yep. This is great. I like this. Everybody starts screaming all at once. Again, very Lovecraftian. Just like a moment of just everyone screams in terror, and then Dad pops out of the ground.
Yes, that shot of him, that's
great.
That zombie puppet shooting out is amazing.
He's phenomenal. He looks great.
I love the giant mouth.
Yep, all of that is great. He's all blue and cool looking. They toast again and forget what just happened. Now they're all back at the table and they're like, "Oh, I guess it's time for sexy shenanigans."
Yeah.
And so
strip poker. Again?
No, wait, we went back in time. But no, they dropped the ball on that again. So
I wish they kept that prosthetic zombie for his dad instead of bluing up the other guy.
Yep, I agree. So there's some extra fish ghoulies.
So his dad comes back and he's just like, "Oh, hello, my children. Your real master has returned.
Yes, basically.
This guy likes Ghoulies even more than his son does.
Yeah. Oh, he loves them.
He loves them.
You know what? It's no wonder the Ghoulies like him better. He actually like pats them. He's like, oh, he's affectionate to the Ghoulies.
Yeah.
He like pets the little fish Ghoulie, and
The other guy's just like, give me power and put my books away.
yeah,
Make it rain inside because
yeah.
I hate property values.
Yes, I like mildew. Maybe he has an anti-mildew spell. Who knows? But Mark the Toad Boy is going to go out and hang out because there's this girl that likes him for reasons.
It's the voice.
The voice does it.
I mean, we make fun of it, but bro, have you ever been on a date and been like, "Hey, baby, I'm Toad Boy. Let's go to the movies." Have you ever tried it?
Admittedly, I have never done that. So
It would probably work.
Okay, well, you know what? Luckily, I'm out of the dating pool, so I don't need to get into that. It makes me happy that that's not a concern of mine
Yeah,
anymore.
same, but
But you know it would work.
I know it would work.
You know,
And I'm gonna do it if I need to in the future. I mean, I'm hoping I don't.
You know, if you're ever on a date with your wife, and
Yeah.
just see if that woos her,
She would.
or if she just smacks you in the head. No, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work at all.
Okay, so, all right.
I'm just trying to picture how they would handle it or how my wife would handle it if I'd be like,
I just want to talk like Toad Boy all the time.
like that's my new thing. And I commit to it, and I never not talk like that.
She put up with that fucking mustache, so I feel like she might. I feel like she might live with almost anything.
She hated that mustache.
You did mustache, mullet, and like vanilla ice stripes in the side. So yeah, I feel like
I still have the vanilla ice stripes. They're just.
weren't they lightning bolts at one point, or like
I never had lightning bolts.
you never did?
I wanted the lightning bolts, but I thought they might come off looking a little SSy.
Blah.
So I was like, let's not do the lightning bolts.
Okay, good call. I think that's a very good idea. I think when it comes to white guys shaving their heads in any way, it gets real dicey real fast. I was like, one time I was like, I'm just getting rid of this. I had a mohawk, and I was like, I'm just going to shave it down. It's kind of nice to just shave it bald. And the conversations that I got into after that point got very uncomfortable. And I was like, I think I need to grow my hair back. I don't like this at all. People feel very comfortable expressing opinions that I am not interested in talking about.
Okay, I need to buy myself like a bunch of like really obvious sharp shirts
Yes,
and grow my
exactly.
hair back.
Yeah, so I'm gonna fucking Sharpie it back on too. Okay. All right, whatever. Toad Boy gets eaten by a ghoulie.
Oh no, not Toad Boy.
Not Toad Boy. Because he's tickling this girl. His big move is...
She loves it. Have you ever tickled a girl and made the Toad Boy voice? Girls love it.
Two things that women can't resist: being annoyed and being extra annoyed.
I'm gonna tickle your guts.
They were made for each other, but unfortunately, it was not to be.
Hi, Toad Boy.
She loses her bracelet in the slime water, and he goes to retrieve it and gets a face full of ghoulie.
Yep.
So
Say goodbye to Toad Boy.
goodbye, Toad Boy. And a couple more show up. This pond is just rife with ghoulies.
Yeah. Lousy with Ghoulies.
Lousy with ghoulies. Dick leaves the room after ostensibly having sex with a lady. I can't remember who she is. Doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter.
But her makeup is still absolutely perfect. Just like, I don't know how that worked out. But that Klaus Nomi doll comes to life behind her. Dick goes downstairs. While the Klaus Nomi doll is, I guess, attacking her, or she can't see it yet. That's right.
Yep.
He goes downstairs and he's just had sex with this lady, but then another lady comes out and he's like, "Oh shit!"
Round 2.
Right. I mean, so okay, is this John's dad?
Yes. Disguised as random blonde
He's
cougar lady.
He's got a real tall man thing for dressing up like a lady and
Yeah.
having sex with young dudes.
And it's also another chance to throw some boobs in your horror movie here before she does the killer tongue thing. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is a master class in this. But
Exactly.
they don't. They're just like, and she doesn't even crack a pun or
There's
anything.
nothing.
She should be like, show the boobs and be like, oh, don't you have something to say? What are you, tongue-tied? Blah! You know what I mean? Like, we
Sure.
get nothing. We just get tongue thing, which is cool looking, but it's just, it feels incomplete to me.
No, you're
Just
right.
like, boop, here's my tongue. I choke you with the tongue. Yep, we're done.
I agree. It is just like, it just feels like they had a tongue prop hanging around from
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
That's definitely what it feels like. Okay, so he does. Yeah, she gets the Freddy Krueger tongue. Blah blah blah, and then we cut to John apologizing to Becky for hypnotizing her and forcing her to be with him and participate in unholy necromantic ceremonies. And
Yes.
then he puts the talisman on her, and she goes back to sleep.
Yeah. So does he? Is that like a roofie talisman? Is that like is she still under his control? Like
I think that the talisman broke the control.
that he
my
made
feeling.
in the basement?
Yes.
That he made when he was doing Satan shit.
I think
So that was a good necklace he made?
I think he was making a talisman like the one that was protecting him as a child
That vanished.
that vanished.
So why did we even see that?
Why didn't he just give her
the one that he's
necklace
been-
that he had as a child?
That's how it works when you do that shit. Movie.
Yes. He should have taken it off and given it to her
Yeah.
and protected her, and then
And he dies.
they should Greedy Guts and Grizzle should have stolen the fucking necklace off of her while she was sleeping,
Ooh.
and then hypnotized her so that she was then, a zombie or whatever, and then he finds it and gives it back to her, redeeming himself in some small way.
Then they kill him for taking his necklace off.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
There we go.
It's just I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so yeah, she goes to sleep, whatever. One of our 80s party dudes goes out looking for a lighter and then gets knocked unconscious by either Grizzle or
It's
Greedy
Grizzle,
Guts.
yeah.
And
No, Greedy Guts knocks him out. Yeah, Grizzle.
Yes.
He sees Grizzle run by. Oh, and
Grizzle's out fighting with the rat ghoulie in the
Yeah.
in the yard.
we also see that those guys just get too stoned for my liking. It's just a pet peeve of mine when people are obnoxiously stoned in movies, like where it's just so
Yeah.
over the top. Like they don't sell being stoned very well.
No, they
They
don't.
sell like
It's
whatever.
80s weed. How much could they
Yeah.
possibly have smoked to get that high? So yes, okay. They drag his body, his lifeless body,
I guess he's knocked out or dead, or they drag him out to.
into the yard, and then they use his coat to catch the rat ghoulie.
Because they were going to stab him with that knife inside for some reason. But then Grizzle's like, not in here. We bring it outside.
Yeah, there's definitely a scene missing here where it's like,
this whole
why did they need the ghoulie? Why did they drag him outside?
Mm-hmm.
Is he dead? None of it makes sense.
all of this is like a big long murder montage scene at
Yep.
the end of this movie. But every little vignette in it seems incomplete to me. Like everything is just
Yeah.
like missing a piece or just ends too soon or doesn't have enough setup. So yeah, then we get the Klaus Nomi doll killing the girl, and when it's about to kill her, it starts bleeding from the eyes, the mouth, like a big ghoulie comes out of it.
Oh, that's a sixth ghoulie.
Yeah, and then it just like cuts away when we see the big ghoulie come out. We don't even see what it
You
does,
don't
and then
see-
you never see that big
Yeah.
ghoulie again ever. Like what?
Yeah, it's a bummer. That is a bummer. So this is the moment where Grizzle catches the rat ghoulie
For some reason.
to kill somebody later with it, but at the same time they're literally having a conversation. This is the other part where you kind of realize that they're similar demons, because she's like, he says, "Oh, I hate these things," or something, like as though he knew them from before or whatever. And you can also tell that he's having a crisis of conscience where he doesn't want to betray Jonathan to Malcolm, the dad, but
He seems to have no problem chucking a eating ghoulie at somebody's face.
he doesn't care about that.
Oh, okay.
But it's because he has some loyalty to Jonathan. And so But then Greedy Guts is like, well, yeah, but if you turn on Malcolm, he's so powerful, he's just going to kill you. So you need to just shut the fuck up and do what he asks you to do. So, Greedy Gut throws the ape ghoulie at that other stoner that didn't die in the pool.
Yep.
And it bites his face off. The lady that Dick was having sex with gets attacked by the Close Nomi puppet, and we get the dinosaur-looking ghoulie that pops out of it. Everyone now comes back to life. Now that everyone's dead, they come back to life, and they all do this weird, like they're all
It's like a
called,
corpse shuffle, like to the basement together.
It's maybe lit differently, shot differently, something. It would look less goofy. They're like one of them, the one that they concentrate on that's doing it. It is actually it's a very creepy motion that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish they could have shot it in a better way.
But it's a creepy motion, but it also looks like that like dance you can do that they always did in the 80s where they would get in the ground and do that like wiggle.
Yeah, it's very
thing.
much like they're doing the worm.
Yeah, the worm. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yep, it very much looks like that.
Oh, how cool would a worm ghoulie be?
Very cool. Okay, so as everyone comes back to life and gets called downstairs, a ghoulie plays piano for a minute, which is awesome.
Bing, bong, bong.
It's one of the better parts.
Hope you enjoyed that.
I hope you enjoyed it. It's over now. Becky gets... Oh, this is the best scene.
Yes.
The best scene of the movie. So Becky has woken up. His girlfriend Becky has been awakened. She's now no longer under his spell. And she's leaving to go away. And she's like, listen, I'm tired of this shit. I'm going home and I'm going to stay with my mother or whatever. And she's on the stairs and the bat ghoulie flies at her face and she loses her footing. We're supposed to believe, but instead of it just like knocking her down, she has conservatively 20 seconds to regain her balance while she has a fucking monologue. She's like tipping backwards and she's like, Jonathan, why? It's like, come on. This doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Jonathan, how could you? Please. I'm gonna fall down these stairs now. Bye.
Jonathan, there are 15 things that have happened today that I am unhappy with. The list is thus. Number 1.
And closing my list at number 15 was me falling down a staircase. Goodbye, sir.
Yes, and she does. It's just, there's such a delay between her realizing that she's falling and then she, instead of doing anything, she starts talking to him instead of
grab the railing,
fucking find your footing, do something. You know that you're slipping. What is wrong with you? It's absolutely 100% my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yep.
Okay, now he's starting to feel a bit guilty for killing his lady friend, and he's like, you know what, I've got the magic juice. I can bring her back to life. I got all this power. Look, I can teleport people, do all that shit. I'm going to bring her back from the dead. No harm, no foul. Whatever. Jonathan's like, shit, where's my robe? Can't find it. Uh-oh. Hey, wait a minute. All of my friends have been murdered. Oh, that's weird. And, hey, they're all wearing bloody white sheets. That's strange.
Oh, and bad dad's back.
Hey, my dad's back. Oh, and he wants to kill me. Oh, and he's dead.
Oh, and he's got my robe.
I think I see what's going on. And it turns out that Dad is better at everything than Jonathan.
Yeah.
He's got control of all the little gremlins, and Grizzle and Greedy Guts are on his side, and he's now back to finish the sacrifice to Lucifer that he couldn't do before. He's like, there's a weird thing here where he's like, I need to sacrifice you to Lucifer to get my soul back or something like that.
He needs to suck his life force out so he can take his youth.
Sure. It's
That's what he
stupid.
needs to do.
He definitely mentions Lucifer.
100%. But then he also said he needed to suck the life force. He needs to suck the youth. He needs to kiss him and suck the life force out.
Weird.
That's what he said. That's his words. Don't look at me like that.
No, it's not. It's not your fault. But whatever. So Dad brings Becky back from the dead just to fuck with him, basically. and it's a trap. And
This is another one of those scenes where it just feels so incomplete because, like, yeah, all of a sudden his wife's back and she's like, I want you. Hold me. Kiss me. And then Grizzle's like, no, it's a trap. That's when you cut to her looking like a ghoulie. But you don't. He just goes,
because she needs to be alive at the end for our happy ending.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, you fall, get on the ground. And he just like kind of like shoves her lightly and she just falls down and that's it. Like,
yeah, the fact that she's only alive thanks to necromancy isn't ever going to play into their relationship at some point, I'm sure. Anyway, Grizzle and Greedy Guts get in trouble for warning him. Malcolm throws Jonathan.
kind of. He just says you'll burn for this.
Yeah.
There's no consequences.
Well, I mean, there would have been had he not been
yeah.
killed. But Malcolm throws him around the room a bit. There's that weird kissing scene. But while he's distracted by the weird kissing thing, Wolfgang shows up, fucking Millennium
and he's
Falcon
a wizard!
style. And he's a wizard, Harry. Yep. He hits him with a trident in the back, and he's like, that's very bad. I don't like that. They have a piss poor magic fight. One of
The F is this?
even if they'd like thrown fireballs at each other across the room, it would have been better than this.
Yeah.
They're literally just holding onto each other's necks.
And they're shooting, and they're repeatedly shooting one lightning bolt out of one eyeball.
Yeah.
Pss, pss, at each other, and they're just like, ow, quit it. Ow.
Ow, quit it. Ow, quit it. And that's pretty much how it goes for the whole end of the movie,
Right?
until they disappear.
Yeah.
Like,
and
we
they just
don't-
disappear, and like a ceiling beam falls, and they're like, oh, I guess
Yep, that's it.
that was an epic battle that I guess they both died in.
Yeah, it starts tearing the house apart after they vanish, and apparently their epic battle has destroyed the house, or it might have been the fact that they damaged the foundation a lot by constantly making rain spells down there.
But
Just
once they
saying.
die, it totally like Disney movie resets, and all of their friends are alive, and they're like, all right, let's go. All you corpses that used to be dead that are alive now for
it was awesome
some
because
reason.
there's a moment when his wife or girlfriend or whatever is like, why are they back? And he's like, shut up. Let's go. Quit asking questions. This fucking thing doesn't make sense.
They want a happy ending.
Yep. It even like bleaches out the stains in the linen, so it's great. So they get into their cars and drive off because, we're expecting a fucking poltergeist style house implosion.
Yeah.
No, we don't have the budget for that. Instead, we cut to Grizzle and Greedy Guts, and they wave bye.
All right, bye, everybody. Well,
See you later.
Here's another thing. Everybody gets into their own car, but that one other stoner, Mike, hops in with them. But why? He rode in with the other guy.
I don't know, because they needed one person in the back seat to hang out with the ghoulies,
I guess.
to hide the wires.
Yeah, I'm really confused why Mike's in their car with them.
I assume
you even see Mike's buddy that he rode in
Yeah.
with, like, get in the other car without him. Like, no big deal. Like,
If you don't have a person back there, the control rods are going to be super obvious, I think. And you're just going to be like, I think that it makes it easier to have multiple ghoulies behind things. And they did the cool thing like comic artists like to do, where you got nice foreground and background, and you want like multiple layers. I like that.
Okay.
I like the fact that there was one behind him and like next to him, and I don't know. It made for a
good shot, but it was just
It's silly.
yeah.
But there you go. Ghoulies pop up in the back of in Jonathan's car. Ta-da! Freeze frame.
90s freeze frame sitcom ending there.
Guess what? Time for college. No, wait.
No,
That's
wait.
later.
We gotta go to the fair first.
Gotta have a really depressing circus one before that happens. I actually like part 2 a lot.
Me too.
But, yeah. That's Ghoulies.
That's Ghoulies. It does not make a whole hell of a lot of sense, really.
It doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't stand up to a lot of questions, and it does ask a shit ton of questions that it doesn't answer.
Yes.
Which especially, it breaks the cardinal rule of any supernatural movie, which is like, if you're gonna have a supernatural movie, you gotta have rules.
Yep.
You have to establish it. Like, even movies don't even feel comfortable having a vampire without explaining what a vampire does. You know what I mean? Like, if people feel like they need to establish their own rules for the most well-known and iconic of monsters. And so even if you have a werewolf or a vampire, they'll
They'll
like,
still say it. They'll go over the silver
steak,
bullet shit and
silver
everything
bullet,
like that. Yeah.
decapitation, garlic, blah, blah, blah. And they'll explain either it works or it doesn't. But like, we have this unbelievably complex system of magic that should have been the plot, is explaining how that system of magic works, so that we can understand why they're there, because we can't understand the motivation of. I want to know the motivation of the Ghoulies. Maybe that's a crazy thing to ask, but I feel like if I knew the motivation of the little monsters,
I want
it
to
would
know.
help.
I want to know what the Ghoulies are doing when they're not being summoned to do.
I mean that's Ghoulies Go to College.
Yeah.
Somebody answered that question. It's like they're hanging out watching TV and drinking beer.
I want to see more of that in this.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the most disappointing part of this movie, is that it didn't bring the goof that I was hoping for. It didn't bring the scare
It's
or the
one thing-
goof. It's just not enough of anything.
No, and it's one of those things that can be forgiven because it is
It's a special
super
movie.
low budget. It's
Yeah.
special. It's in the infancy of all of these people that were
Yes.
involved. Like, I mean, obviously Charles Band went on to do all this other shit. The director Luca Bercovi,
Lucio Brazzi.
Yeah, he directed The Granny later on, which is amazing too. Like he went on to do a ton of cool shit. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's not bad, but it's
No,
just like
it
it's kind of like when you listen to somebody for a long time and their music's awesome, and then you listen to the first album and it's like, oh, this isn't really doing it for me, but I can see the
Right.
seeds of like greatness being planted here. Yeah,
And that's true. And
so it can be forgiven for that in a way.
And it's very easy when you've seen Gremlins 2 and you've seen, like all of these things when you've seen Critters and you've seen all that
Yep.
stuff, but Ghoulies was first.
Yeah.
It was before,
And way cheaper than all of that.
right,
too,
and it was before Gremlins.
Yep.
I mean, it was simultaneous with Gremlins. They were written and produced at the exact same time. So it's not like they didn't know that they needed to do the kinds of things. They didn't know what an audience of people like us, of the nerds that are going to want to watch this kind of crap. They didn't know what we were looking for at that point.
Yeah.
If they had made this movie today, they would have known what we were looking for, and they would have made it more like that, I think.
Yep.
They would have chosen one of those tones.
I wish it rolled a little harder. Like
Yes.
I wish it rolled like Ghoulies 3 rolls, where it's like Ghoulies 3 was able to put in that crass humor, loaded up with that gratuitous nudity, like
Big effects.
have some kills. Yep, exactly. Have some. This I kind of feel just drops the ball on the kills, on the babes, on the everything that makes these kind of dumb movies
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Agree.
and it just feels like it's there. Like that's the problem
It's
with
so
Ghoulies.
close.
It's got so much potential, and
It
they just
really
like
does.
drop the ball left and right. Ugh.
And it did, but I mean, this movie had such an impact on me as a kid. Like such an impact. I was obsessed with Ghoulies.
I was too.
obsessed with the concept of Ghoulies. Like,
Yep.
I wanted a Ghoulie. I wanted to summon Ghoulies. I wanted them in my house. I just wanted Ghoulies.
Yeah, I rented them. I rented them a ton when I was a kid. And as much as I'm saying like I wish this movie went harder, if it did, it would have been rated R, and I wouldn't have been allowed to see it
Exactly.
when I was a kid. So this was one of those things that this was one of those saving grace movies for me, like along with Monster Squad, where it was a horror movie that I could always rent with my parents, and I could take this one home.
Yeah, and it also is like it also could be played in its entirety on USA Up All Night.
Yep.
And that's kind of like there was nothing that needed to be censored. There might have been something, but it seems like I can't imagine anything.
I can't even think of anything. Yeah.
Needing any censoring.
No.
Yeah. So it's just funny. It's such an interesting movie historically and all of that. I love it. I'm going to watch it a million more times.
I'm glad we did it here because I had it in my head. I hadn't watched this movie in well over 10 years or more, and I had it in my head that I didn't like this movie at all. I was like, I hate the first Ghoulies. That's why we've covered Ghoulies 2 and 3 on the show before. But you were like, let's do Ghoulies. And I was like, that movie sucks. No way.
You see,
So
I
I'm
feel
glad
like
I went back and gave Ghoulies a second shot because I did greatly enjoy it.
I wish that you could literally take all of the parts of all 3 Ghoulies movies and make a perfect movie.
That'd be the perfect Ghoulie.
Because that's like the effects from Ghoulies 3 combine with like the sensibility of Ghoulies 2, less really far down the way Borscht Belt humor, like a little like
Tone it down a little.
tone down the like Mad Magazine-esque levels of ridiculous humor. Bring it in a little bit more horror, and I think you would have an absolutely perfect movie.
Yep.
And I'm not opposed to the idea of a reboot of the Ghoulies franchise.
No.
I would absolutely fucking love to see a new Ghoulies.
As long as it's got actual ghoulies and not just cartoon ghoulies.
Yes, absolutely, and especially if it doesn't have the Ghoulies from Part 4, which are just little people in Halloween masks.
Do you want to do Ghoulies 4 next week?
I'll watch it and then
I'll watch it too, man. I have not put that thing in like 20 years, but like after watching this one, now I'm getting the feeling like shit. Have I been hating on Ghoulies 4 all this time for no reason?
No,
would I really like
definitely
Ghoulies 4 if
watched
I
that
popped
movie.
it in?
I definitely watched that within the last 4 years, and I
I've
was
got
like,
it.
I can't make it through this fucking movie. I remember feeling like there's no movie in this movie. It's very all I remember was going, oh, it's the street from Shrunken Heads.
Yeah.
That's all I remember thinking.
It's a Wynorski, though. It can't be that bad.
It can't be that bad. He is... Yeah, okay, well, we'll think about it. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the important thing to remember is that this podcast is brought to you by Coast City Comics. Please purchase things from us to help us continue to make these things. And
we have shirts.
And we have shirts. Go to coastcitycomics.com. Buy a Funbox Monster Podcast t-shirt. Buy a Coast City Comics shirt. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff. Have us build you a skateboard. Do all sorts of stuff. There's
even comics here.
We're actually one of those places that has comics in the name that actually is kind of riddled with comics, as opposed to some other comic shops you might have heard of.
Like if you go to the stupid mall.
Listen, I wasn't saying anything specific, but
I wasn't either. I just said a mall.
Just a mall. That's fair. The Mall of America, for example.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening. Follow us at Funbox Monster Podcast at Coast City Comics, and Matt is...
I am Matt Awkward VHS Fiend on the Instagram, and make sure you check out the Video Vagrants group on Facebook, and we do a group movie watch every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Video Vagrants YouTube channel.
Awesome.
This week is Santo and Blue Demon versus Dracula and the Wolfman.
Very nice. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of those terrible fucking movies.
I've never seen, so...
Ooh, you're going to have a hard time. But, yeah.
I have a hard time in everything. I'm not too smart.
Oh, you're going to... Yeah, figuring out an El Santo movie is going to be tough. Anyway, thank you so much. We will see you next week. Good night.
Faces.